What's up everyone, and welcome back to the Bold and the Beautiful 24 official channel. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button today. Let's get started. Luna wakes up, Bill revenge Sheila and Lee Pact. The Bold and the Beautiful reveal that Luna Nozawa will wake up while Bill Spencer craves revenge on Grace Buckingham. Sheila Sharp and Lee Finnegan also seem poised to make a pact, so here's what B&B has in store. Sheila inquires about Lee's efforts to save Luna and the fabricated death of Luna. Lee will explain why she couldn't leave Luna because she was a member of her family and had a difficult upbringing with Papi Nozawa as her mother. Before Luna finally comes out of her coma, Sheila may make a silence agreement with Lee. It should throw Luna for a loop when she realizes her grandmothers are risking so much for her sake. Over with Bill, he'll react with fury when Liam Spencer and Hope Logan reveal Grace's $1 million scam. Bill will want vengeance and will plan to make sure Grace pays for her crimes. Bill might take matters into his own hands if the justice system doesn't hit Grace enough. In the meantime, let's talk about Nick Marone's marriage proposal, since he'll indeed pull out a ring and try to convince Brooke Logan to marry him. Brooke will probably say no to Nick because she thinks she still has a chance with Ridge Forrester. However, Ridge hasn't decided if he wants to meet Brooke. Ridge will still feel obligated to Taylor Hayes and all of his promises, making it difficult. Taylor intends to keep her engagement ring on and proceed with Ridge's wedding plans, but his love for Brooke will only grow from here. Destiny will pull Brooke and Ridge back together, but there'll be some delays and other obstacles along the way. A private party will begin at Il Giardino. It'll still be going on during the week of August 18th to 22nd, so look for Deacon to welcome the guests and present a lovely spread for the reservation. This party will feature Brooke, Katie Logan, Will Spencer, Electra Forrester, and other characters. It could be a way to celebrate a sales boost after the Naples and Capri trip, but there's a chance it'll be something else. Despite the fact that Liam did not actually have cancer, he continued to live thinking he did. Naturally, celebrating Liam's survival at the beach house would be appropriate given that he also survived the terrible ordeal. Sheila might sneak off to Luna while Deacon is busy with the party, whatever the circumstance. The more Sheila disappears on Deacon, the more suspicious he's going to be. Hope Logan may have a lot of Daphne Rose drama to deal with from August 25th to 29th. Daphne will have a chance to draw Carter Walton closer during her extended stay in Los Angeles, posing a threat to Hope's engagement. Brooke will be dissatisfied with Ridge's handling of Taylor's situation. Getting Ridge to walk away from Taylor won't be easy, but Brooke will know in her heart that Ridge is the only man for her. The Bold and the Beautiful say the next 3 weeks will bring plenty of excitement, so stay tuned for updates on any shocking news to come. Sheila Carter kidnaps Luna. Dr. Lee Finnegan just poked the bear on B&B. Will Sheila Carter attack? Spoilers for the CBS soap's next episode can be found below. Versus Lee Finnegan on Bold and the Beautiful. Luna Nozawa is expected to wake up to be greeted by both of her grandmothers this week. Luna has been trying to be hidden by Lee Finnegan, but Sheila Carter was getting closer to finding out what she was up to. Dr. Lee needed help with her patient, so it makes sense she brought Grandma Sheila in to assist her. She is the only person on the planet who would report Luna's existence to the authorities by calling the police. However, the Bold previews suggest that Luna Nozawa's grandmothers will have a difficult time agreeing on the secret patient's next steps. It's not clear what Lee has in mind for Dr. the real-life daughter of John Finnegan. Is she nursing her back to health in order to transfer her to a mental health facility? Luna Nozawa will want to leave her grandmother's apartment now that she is alive and well. We know Lee Finnegan isn't going to allow that. Can Luna convince Sheila Carter to kidnap her and get her out of there while Lee is at work? Although Lee doesn't see it that way, technically speaking, it is not kidnapping if the hostage is attempting to leave. Sheila Carter turns on herself. Steffi Forrester even praised Sheila for turning a new leaf on Bold and Beautiful by acting appropriately when Luna went on a shooting spree. But did Luna's death wake up something dark inside her? Will Sheila Carter kidnap Lee Finnegan's granddaughter to keep her out of jail or a mental institution? When the week began on The Bold and the Beautiful, the energy in Los Angeles felt different, almost charged, as though every player in the city's most complicated web of relationships was standing on the edge of a knife, and the smallest push could send everything spiraling into chaos, starting with a secret that had been festering for weeks. Luna Nozawa was alive, breathing, and finally stirring from the coma that Lee Finnegan had worked so tirelessly to maintain in secrecy, a secret that had demanded more lies, more risk, and more alliances than Lee ever wanted to admit, even to herself, and yet here she was, seated beside Luna's hospital bed in the quiet of her apartment, watching the faintest flutter of eyelashes that told her everything was about to change. Sheila Carter, or rather, Sheila Sharp, now living in a careful truce with Deacon, had already been circling closer and closer to the truth, her curiosity sharpening like a blade every time she caught wind of Lee's evasive answers, and in a moment that could alter both their lives, Sheila confronted Lee directly, asking not only why Lee had saved Luna but why she had gone to such lengths to fabricate her death, to let the world, including Papi Nozawa, believe the young woman was gone forever, and Lee, with that cool, unyielding expression she reserved for moments when she couldn't afford vulnerability, explained in low, deliberate tones that she couldn't abandon Luna, not when she was family, not when she had endured a childhood under Papi's questionable parenting, and perhaps most of all, not when she had the power to shape what happened to her from here. Sheila, sensing the depth of Lee's conviction and perhaps relating more than she cared to admit to protecting a child from a dangerous future, floated the idea of a pact, a silence agreement, as she put it, where neither of them would expose the truth until they decided together, binding them in a shared secret that might keep Luna safe but would also trap them in mutual liability, because if one fell, the other would fall too. And so, as Luna's breathing grew steadier and the signs of waking became undeniable, the stage was set for a moment that would throw her into a whirlwind, waking to see both of her grandmothers, women who had clashed violently in the past, now standing united, at least outwardly, for her sake, risking reputations, legal repercussions, and whatever fragile trust they had left with the rest of the Forrest dispenser. Logan Finnegan Circle. But while Lee and Sheila were forging this uneasy alliance, across town, Bill Spencer's focus was narrowing into something dangerous and uncompromising, because Liam Spencer and Hope Logan had just laid out the full details of Grace Buckingham's brazen $1 million scam, a con so audacious and personal that Bill felt it like a direct challenge, and if there's one thing Bill Spencer doesn't tolerate, it's someone thinking they can outsmart him without paying a devastating price. He wanted vengeance, not the kind that sits politely in a courtroom, but the kind that leaves a mark so deep the target never forgets who delivered it. And while his legal team was already reviewing every possible charge, Bill was quietly making plans for what to do if the justice system fell short, if the sentence felt too light, if the retribution wasn't enough to balance the scales. He was a man who believed in handling matters directly when necessary, and that meant Grace Buckingham had every reason to look over her shoulder in the weeks ahead. Meanwhile, in the more romantic and yet equally tangled corners of Los Angeles, Nick Marone was making a move that some would call bold and others would call ill-timed, slipping into Brooke Logan's workplace with a ring in hand, certain that if she saw it, if she heard the conviction in his voice, she might finally agree to marry him, but Brooke, though touched, would likely turn him down, still convinced somewhere deep down that her destiny remained intertwined with Ridge Forrester's, even if Ridge himself hadn't committed to that path. His sense of obligation to Taylor Hayes still heavy around his neck, making every decision about Brooke feel like a betrayal. Taylor, for her part, was determined to press forward, to keep her engagement ring on her finger and her wedding plans in motion, willfully ignoring the undercurrents that told her Ridge's love for Brooke was far from extinguished, that it might even be growing stronger, and while destiny had a way of pulling Ridge and Brooke back together, the road ahead would be littered with delays, complications, and emotional wreckage. Amid all of this, Deacon Sharp was preparing for a private party at Il Giardino, a gathering set to run well into the week of August 18, 22, where he would welcome guests with his signature charm and a carefully curated spread, the room filling with familiar faces like Brooke, Katie Logan, Will Spencer, Electra Forrester, and others, possibly under the guise of celebrating a sales boost from the Naples and Capri trip, though Deacon's motives were always layered, always carrying the possibility of another agenda, perhaps even using the event as a way to keep certain people in the same room, to observe interactions, to control the narrative. In another twist, despite the fact that Liam didn't actually have cancer, he had been living with the belief that he did, a shadow that colored every moment, so the party could just as easily transform into an impromptu celebration of his survival, a kind of collective exhale at the beach house, though if Sheila chose to attend, the evening could take an entirely different turn, especially if she slipped away from Deacon to check on Luna, a move that would only make him more suspicious the more it happened. Hope Logan, already managing her own drama, would soon face a new challenge when Daphne Rose lingered in Los Angeles from August 25, 29, creating opportunities to pull Carter Walton closer and test the resilience of Hope's engagement.